Right, so I really didn't want to make this video, but I feel it is now deserved. I do not enjoy watching Helluva Boss, and I'm quite frustrated with that fact. If you've watched my channel for any length of time, you know how much I love YouTube animation, what with my video on Lackadaisy and my series of videos on murder drones, which has become the backbone of my channel at this point. So, you would think it's only logical that I would come to love Helluva Boss the same way that I love these other two shows. But I just can't bring myself to like this show. So let's have a look at why. Now, for those of you who have somehow never heard of Helluva Boss before, or those of you who haven't watched it in a while, I'll give a quick recap on the show. Helluva Boss is an animated series starring a cast of demons from Hell. The main set we need to worry about are Blitz, the O is silent, Moxie, and Millie. These three work as assassins under the name IMP and work to murder people in the land of the living that have wronged one of the dead. They are able to accomplish this through the use of a grimoire, gifted to them by Stolas, a member of Hell's upper class who is in love with Blitz for whatever reason. Now, I'll give credit where it's due. This is an interesting premise that, if used properly, could lead to some very intriguing storytelling. It's a vastly different perspective than what we're used to, and that could allow for some new stories told in an unfamiliar light, which is always good to see. Unfortunately, this is where my first issue with this show comes in. You very rarely actually see any of this premise in action in the show. Sure, it might be referenced in passing in the opening of an episode, but as soon as in episode 2 of season 1, it's completely abandoned, and absolutely none of the character development, emotional scenes, or hell, even the cool action sequences happen in the hunt for a target. What really got me excited to watch this show when I saw the pilot was a demon's perception of Earth, but instead we just get to see way too much of hell, which is my next problem with the show. The hell in Helluva Boss is not interesting to me. There's all this opportunity here to show some horrifying stuff, to show pain, suffering, and crude struggle between demons, but it's just not there. In fact, a lot of what's in this show is just Earth. The biggest example comes in episode 5, the Harvest Moon Festival. The main plot of this episode is that the IMP crew are going to visit Millie's parents for the Harvest Moon Festival. Moxie gets embarrassed by another character called Striker, who apparently has been hired to kill Stolas because he's unhappy about having to work to feed him and the royal family. This is just feudal Europe, and it makes absolutely no sense to be happening in Hell. Don't give me any of the "oh, but Stolas is powerful so makes him do it" nonsense, because this moron nearly gets killed by Striker in season 2 because of some bollocks holy rope. If the people here don't want to feed the royals, then they just won't. There's no divine force at play like in feudal Europe, there are just some stuck-up birds and some angry gremlins. So the next thing I want to talk about is perhaps my biggest criticism of this show, and that is the overarching storyline. The key points that determine why we're being shown the episodes in this order, and the effect it has on the characters and the world around them. My problem is, there isn't one. Now that might not be a problem for some people, but personally, I find it very hard to engage with the story when there's no story. When I first saw the pilot, I thought it would be that the demons would get found out and then progressively tracked down by the humans whilst they're trying to do jobs just to scrape by. Then episode 2 came out and completely threw the whole premise out the window. Alright, that's fine. They're going to focus on something else. Episode 3, nothing of interest. Episode 4, nope. Episode 5, alright, here we go. Great. The story is going to be a race between Blitz and Striker, one trying to protect Stolas and the other one trying to kill him. That explains why the writers spent so much time on Stolas in the opening episodes, instead of the main cast. Let's see what they do to develop this story. Well, episode 6 didn't really show anything, but that's fine. They're probably just taking a break before latching back onto the main story. Next episode we might get a montage of Striker preparing his time off, coming up with a plan to kill Stolas, or maybe a conversation between Stolas and Blitz about what he witnessed, letting Stolas know the amount of danger he's in. That would make for an interesting dynamic and really let the characters show how they react to real danger. Or apparently not. Because the writers in the show do not touch this event, don't even hint towards anything involving it for the next, 5 episodes. What in the actual fuck? Alright, you know what? It's fine. I'm sure they're just waiting for the climactic reveal, an epic battle between Stolas and Striker, showing the true power of the Goetia, and explaining why Striker went to all the lengths he did to capture him. Nope, he just shows up. Ropes Stolas with the bollocks holy rope I mentioned before, slings him on the back of the horse, and rides away. Well, good thing they didn't waste any time creating build-up for this moment. Okay. That's 2 misses in a row, but you know what they say? Third tries the charm. Surely they at least make a good showing out of whatever Striker does next. Alright, looking good, stabs him through the shoulder, good display of strength, and they turned it into a sex joke. God damn it, I hate this show. Fine, let's just go on to the one part of the show that I do think is pretty good, and that's the fight scenes. Here, I'll give some credit, because for the most part, the fight scenes in this show are very well done. They're very smooth, exciting, and provide a good climax to most of the episodes. My one caveat here is that parts of them do get a little hard to follow, what with all the wacky angles and an overabundance of smear frames in some parts. Unfortunately, in the episode that has become the focus of this video, the epic nature of the fight is undercut by the most stupid B-plot I have ever seen. I do not want to watch Blitz and this incredibly unqualified doctor try and give Luna this stupid oversized needle. Whoever thought it was a good idea to do this needs to get sacked, because this is just a pitiful undercut to the tone and climax of this scene. I'm all for a good joke to break some tension, but this complete cutaway from the climax to show what is essentially the same thing multiple times is going way too far. So, let's go back through and summarize everything, shall we? Helluva Boss loses sight of its premise way too quickly, it fails to deliver the interesting perspective promised, the world building of Hell is too close to that of Earth, which makes the choice to not put them on Earth even more stupid, the plot of the series is basically non-existent, they refuse to use any setup, and the payoff is undermined by crude, unfunny jokes and a B-plot that detracts from the story more than anything else. Top it off with the creator with about as much respect for her audience as I have motivation to watch AFMAL videos, and you've got Helluva Boss. I'm disappointed.